Blog Talk Radio. Welcome to Let's Talk Jets Radio.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk Jets Radio. This is one of your hosts, Tyson Roush, at Talk Jets Radio, Instagram and Twitter, Let's Talk Jets Radio on YouTube, and it all seems quiet right now in the world of the New York Jets. So a person that I have not spoken to in a little while is Mr. Primetime. Mr. Primetime, how have you been, man?
Not too bad. A week to digest the news. Still not happy, but we turn the page and we move on. I know some people are a little too sensitive when it comes to their team being criticized, so I'll try to save some of it for tonight.
Okay. Okay, so if we look past the second pick in the draft, which I think pretty much now it's a foregone conclusion it's going to be Zach Wilson, what are your thoughts on the Jets taking the best value on their chart with their second first-round pick, which could be a corner over an offensive lineman?
That's actually what I feel is probably going to happen, especially at 23, where you're maybe looking for more of a skill position. I know we keep talking about the offensive line, and I do think that they're going to take one guy fairly early, probably at 34, and I think that they'll probably take two when you look at the 2 third-rounders as well. But, I think they're going to look for a skill position at 23. It could be a corner. It could even be a receiver, even though I think that's less of a need now that you signed Corey Davis. Even an edge rusher could be a possibility. I think for the most part, though, Douglas is going to stick to his board. Whoever he has, best player available with so many needs on the team, I think that's still going to be his philosophy.
Yeah, no, I think so, too. I just want to feel it's going to be a corner as well, man. If you look at the roster where it's at right now, and I think if Joe Douglas stays true to his word where it's like you don't draft for need, you draft based on your chart and the best value at that position, it may not be, or like you said, it may not be an offensive lineman, dude. It could be a skill position player, which honestly they need. Where I think it gets interesting and something that we kind of talked about last night is what if there is a receiver that falls to that spot? Does that tempt the Jets enough to take a receiver there, or do they say, you know what, we feel comfortable here, that's too high for a receiver?
I don't think it should be too high for a receiver. I mean, we're all hoping, for what Mims could be, but he still has to prove that he could stay on the field and do it consistently, and Crowder only has 1 year left on his contract. So beyond that, you have Corey Davis and, a lot of question marks with, Vincent Smith, Jeff Smith, Braxton Berrios. I don't think any of those guys are game changers. So if you could get another young stud wideout in here to grow with Zach Wilson, that's not a bad thing at all. So I think it's all going to depend, like I said, on, how Joe Douglas has his draft board.
So one of the interesting things is I always try to, like right now the Jets have kept a lot of veteran players that we all assumed were going to get cut. Van Roten, Alex Lewis, Ryan Griffin, even Jamison Crowder he just mentioned. Now, if they go into this draft and in theory draft their replacements and then cut these guys, is that kind of a bad look for the Jets? But like, you know what? Now the market is kind of extinguished for a lot of these positions. Now we're putting these guys out there. Is that kind of like I guess not a douchebag move, but is that kind of like, a frowned upon move, or is that just business?
I mean, it's business, I guess. It happens to teams every year, but man, it just seems like the list of names is kind of piling up, with guys that have grievances against Joe Douglas at this point. You got Quincy Enunwa on there, Luke Falk, Kalichio Semele. I know he filed something with, the way they handled his injury. So it seems like it's just, a lot of guys on their way out, kind of have issues with, the way the Jets are doing things. So I don't know if, you want to read more into that or not. I'm not going to make that assumption, but something seems a little off if they do end up handling it that way. But again, it does happen with multiple teams, so I don't think it would be exclusive only to the Jets.
Yeah, and the reason why I'm asking about these guys are because these are guys that Joe Douglas actually signed. So like players that he inherited, it's like, all right, well these aren't my guys, but now it's like the Van Roten's guy you brought in himself. So I wonder if he handled these guys differently because sometimes it's like, wow man, like you're cutting me now when if I was cut a month ago, I could have got a much better job, much better contract.
Yeah, but, that could also be a situation kind of like with Darnold, where they wanted to make sure that, all the medicals checked out with, whoever they were going to get, in this case, it would be they want to make sure that whoever they want to draft actually falls to them and they're able to secure them first. And once they have their guy in place, maybe they move on. Maybe there are some other options that they're still looking at, that are free agents that they think they can get at a bargain price. Maybe there's some other guys they know are going to get cut, from now until training camp. I still think there are some ways to solve it. I'm just upset that it wasn't a priority, so that we could be having more discussions about, maybe taking, multiple skill position players at 23 and 34, where the offensive line isn't, as much of a necessity right now.
Yeah, the two positions, I think it's probably maybe actually three positions, the more I think about it, that are just – this off season has been so weird to me, and I'm going to be hypocritical here because I pretty much said the entire off season where I don't want to sign a running back. You can just draft one. I've always said that. I always believe that, and I wouldn't draft one in the first 2 rounds. I always say you can get them later on. But then you see the contracts that all these running backs have gotten all across the league, and it's like, damn, like they weren't big deals. They're all 1-year deals, and they're like legitimate guys that have good resumes that are good players, and they were cheap. And it's interesting the Jets took the approach where it's like, you know what, we'll go with Tevin Coleman, who I understand what he is. I understand he understands the offense, but let's be honest with what he is. And it's just the handling of the running back position, dude, is just weird. Now, they can go draft somebody, I understand, but you look at the guys that were signed, they have a proven NFL resume. Dude, they were so damn affordable.
No, you got to have patience, man. You got to have patience. You got to wait for the draft. Clearly, Douglas knows what he's doing here. He's got his eyes on some young speed back. And I think that's actually a good approach. I mean, I prefer the younger running back. It's not an issue having, one veteran in there in the mix, as long as it's not, a 38-year-old Frank Gore, as your lead back. Having a guy like Tevin Coleman sharing, some of the third down carries or whatever, I don't think he's going to get a bulk of the workload, but, he'll be part of a backfield with P. Ryan and probably, a rookie in round 3, round 4, something like that.
Yeah, it's weird. It's just, like I said, he can go in the draft and get that a running back there and get the corners and get the offensive line and all this stuff, and it's got to let it all play out. But some of these contracts, even like James Conner today, I'm like, dude, like you're sitting here like, wow, it's just this free agency is so strange. I understand why, because next year all the guys are looking for big, huge paydays with all the new cap space and everything else. But It is just so many and the more you think about it, too, the NFL has become an absolute joke with the salary cap. Like the salary cap is a farce at this point. Like I don't know how Giovanni Bernard how the Buccaneers can even afford him. I don't know how Hefty's team is signing all these players. Like I'll never believe in the salary cap ever again, to be honest with you. It's a complete joke.
Well, that was one of the things that Tannenbaum always did so well. It seemed like every year, we were always kind of pressed right up against the cap, and he would find a way to, rework, a number of contracts, and, we'd have a few $1 million to spend, so.
Yeah, no, it's definitely, you look at it, and it's like, well, like Joe Douglas is getting credit for, like, all right, he's front-loading contracts. They're 2-year deals, 3-year deals, they're easy get-outs, all this other stuff, which is great. But I'm like, you look at all these other teams, and, like, they're all keeping prominent names. Like the Bills kept all their guys. All their guys came back. The Chiefs kept all their guys and got more. The Buccaneers are bringing in guys. It's just like the rich got a lot richer, and they had no cap space. So it's like going forward, I'm like, you can spend money because teams are all spending it, and they're having no problem retaining anybody.
Yeah, and again, even more so now that you're going to be tied to a rookie quarterback for the next 5 years. I mean, that's all the more reason that they should be spending in free agency to try to find some building blocks.
Yeah, no, it's definitely interesting, and it's like now it's like the quiet period where it's like a couple weeks to the draft, and now it's like, to me, like this is the most boring time. Like I get completely disinterested for like the next week and a half because now every analyst they're throwing all their bullshit to the wall to see who's going to bite, get their last clicks, get their last retweets, all this shit. And it's just, dude, I lose interest. I'm not going to lie. I don't even care anymore. Like, I'm just, get me to draft night. I don't care about your mock draft. I don't care who so-and-so is talking to. 'Cause I don't believe a fucking word anybody's saying, to be honest with you.
See, but you know what? In most years, when we're picking, sixth or wherever else we're picking, like, there would still be a lot of things that could happen prior to us picking where it's like, you still want to be informed of what's going on and you pay attention to the rumors. Now, I mean, it's pretty much a foregone conclusion that the Jets are taking Wilson at 2. So, I mean, there's only so much that you can kind of take as far as, what the rumors are now, unless, you're kind of locked into what might happen at 23. And I think that's anybody's guess at this point.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing. It's like what annoys me the most is, well, the Jets have talked to player X. No shit, man. And they're going to talk to all the top prospects. Every team's going to do their due diligence. And if the story is getting out, 9 out of 10 times it's a smokescreen. If we've learned one thing about Joe Douglas is pretty much everything we anticipated, he does the exact opposite. He's done pretty much nothing that anybody expected. So, like, if things are getting leaked, it's on purpose because even when they signed players, nobody knew about it. Like, it caught the beat writers all by surprise. Like, nobody had any clue. So
no, that's true. But this year, though, isn't it a little bit different this year, though, with the number of Zoom calls that I guess you could have with certain prospects?
Yep. No, that's true too.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess from that regard, I mean, it might be a little bit more, I guess, easy to predict what direction they might be going based on who they're contacting or who they've interviewed thus far. I don't really know who they have or haven't. I think Humphrey was in there, and there was somebody else. Greg Newsome, I think, was mentioned today. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't believe half the shit, like the mock drafts, and then it's like every year there's always the surprises, man, where there's a run on a position or guys taken completely out of the blue. You're like, where the fuck did that guy come from? Like, so much shit happens. So for anybody to say with any kind of certainty who's going to be available late in the first round, beginning of the second round, it's like comedy, dude. I'm like, it's just like I'm not gonna lie to you. I get completely turned off by this. I lose complete interest until draft night now.
I was just gonna say, is there any position that the Jets could go at 23 or 34 that would just make you lose your shit?
To be honest, I would, if I'm being completely honest, I would hate a running back. I just wouldn't like that. And I understand there's some big time playmakers there, and I completely get it. But to me, that's not the most urgent, pressing need that we have on this team. I can tolerate pretty much, I think, anything other than a running back. Maybe tight. I don't think a tight end's going to be there, but I'd probably say that, just running back. What about you?
Probably middle linebacker or safety, I guess, or interior defensive lineman. Just because I felt like those days were over and we were focused more on, the impact positions, corner, edge rusher, offensive line, receiver. So I feel like that's probably the direction I would hope that they go in.
Yeah, I think if you go, I guess if you're going to be, if they take a defensive tackle or some shit, you're going to be like, dude, what are we doing? But I wouldn't be, a couple people last night said they'd be really pissed off we took a pass rusher. I wouldn't really be mad about that. It's still a need. You get a guy playing opposite of Carl Lawson. It's an explosive guy, something we definitely need. Corner wouldn't buy me. Linebacker position is still a hole. I don't think you're going to go linebacker there. Could you? I don't even know.
I don't think so, unless I guess you don't think C.J. Mosley's part of your future. But even then, I don't think you're taking the middle linebacker that early.
No. Nope. Yeah, I think it'd be that'd be kind of the off the wall taking a linebacker there. I'm thinking probably the running back would be the only thing. Other than that, and like I said, I'm with you where I'd be super tempted with a wide receiver, dude. I want to just load up to I want every possible option to have the most explosive offense there can possibly be. Well, and if that means
sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I was good. That's why a running back wouldn't totally piss me off. It's not the most important need, but if you could get that legitimate 3-down back that can, catch the ball out of the backfield, stretch the field a little bit with some speed, that's something that we haven't had, a legitimate game changer out of the backfield in a real long time. So, if you could have that to help your young quarterback, that's not a bad thing either. Just, probably not the most important need right now.
Yeah, see, I guess where I get curious, and this is where I don't study any of the draft at all. I don't even pretend I study it, and especially now, I just don't know time. But it's you wonder what the drop off is, say from the top 2 or 3 running backs to 4, 5, and 6 that you get in the third round, as opposed to the top corners and the drop off there, or the top head, how you have your value chart. Listen, say the second or the second best corner as opposed to the first running back. What's more important, and what's the drop off? I'm curious how they evaluate that and how they prioritize the position there.
No, absolutely. Even wide receiver too. I think there's a lot of depth at receiver, but you're not getting those. You're not getting that number 1 wide receiver. I don't think in round 3 or round 4. You'll get guys that are on the field. Guys that could be a good number 3, maybe even number 2. But there's definitely going to be that drop off. From the top tier, the top 4 or 5 guys. So I think at every position you have a few guys like that.
Yeah, no, it's definitely interesting, man. It's I'm fascinated how Jim Douglas is going to approach it, and then the other thing, it's is there an opportunity where every year in the draft, the first round, something always crazy happens, a run on a position or somebody falls. So at what point do the Jets say, you know what, we're sitting here, but we're going to move up and go get this guy? And what position would that be? Is there I want them to be in that position. I want them to be aggressive. They say whatever, if they covet a guy, whoever it may be, and he's sitting there at 16, 17, we want this guy. I have no problem moving up to get him. Do they have plenty of resources to do it? But I'm curious what position it would be that they would do that for.
That's what I've been trying to figure out too, and I feel like it's probably only a corner because I think that there are multiple receiving options that could be there. Same thing with the offensive line. There's multiple guys that should be there around 23 and 34 between, Dickerson and Creed Humphrey and Wyatt Davis. So if you want interior line help, unless you have one guy that's a significant upgrade over, the other two or three, I don't feel like there's really a position that they're going to, really look to move up for, especially if it's, trading a future second round pick or something like that. I think Douglas wants all the draft capital that he can get.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. So what we'll do is 929-477-2651. We'll go to Dan in Howard Beach. What's up, man?
Oh, guys, I love your show, man. Thank God for you guys, man. You guys are like just freaking right out of my wishing well, man. I threw a penny in there, man. You guys popped up about 8 years ago when I was online, man. I just love your insight, fellas, and keep doing what you're doing, man. Just love it.
I don't have no insight, man. You have more insight than I do.
No, yeah, right. Fellas, listen, I know right now is a lull right now, but with all the draft capital that we have, if we can come out with 4 starters, I think it's a success right then and there. And I think we have so much capital that he can definitely move up, move down, and go and get the players that he wants. I mean, let's exclude Zach Wilson from the conversation. That's an automatic number 2 right there. That's going to be our quarterback. Not going to be Fields or anything like that. Forget about that smoke screen. We go down to a second. Go get yourself the Newsome. If that cornerback is right there, get him. That's another pressing need that we have. Another one for me is offensive line. Go get Humphreys. If he slips down to the top of the second round and Jacksonville is there and just is willing to trade it, I would trade the 2 third-round picks. Move up, get him, and then with the second rounder, get Etienne. I mean, I've been high on this running back for the longest. I know, Tyson, you're not high on running backs that high and whatnot, but, Kevin is on point here. We haven't had a 3-down back in a while that can just explode it right off the bat. I mean, look at the running back that the Browns have after that they picked up Baker. He's slipping my head right now. But he has helped the Browns in the development of Baker that much more. I mean, I do like, was it Ty Johnson? He provided a big-time spark and whatnot. But, I mean, you got a guy like Etienne out there, and you can grab him there. Now you got your starting quarterback, your starting center, your starter at cornerback, and your starting running back right there, right off the bat with those 4 picks. Now, my big thing with Humphreys is you put him at center, and you still have Cameron Clark there that a lot of people keep forgetting. I think he was a high prospect last year, and he kept falling. You put him at left guard, you had that whole left side already set with Becton, Clark, and Humphreys. And then you kick out McGovern at right guard, and then you have Fant. I think right then and there you have a solidified offensive line, and you have something to play with and to develop a young quarterback with these studs, with these young guys there. And then the rest of the draft is what it is at that point. But if you can come out of there with four solid starters, everything else is a luxury, in my opinion.
Do you think they would start a rookie center, though? I mean, given that they don't really seem to have much interest in a guy like Lindsley or any interest in McGovern over?
Yeah, we did it already. If you're going to get someone as high on a second rounder or whatnot, the guy's starting. You have to. I mean, I don't think that Zach Wilson is going to start right off the bat. You got to get yourself an Alex Smith, a Hoyer, to show him the ropes and whatnot. Unless the guy, like I said in previous shows, if he blows it out of the water, then he's your starter from week 1. But again, I would put Humphreys right there, right in the center, and let them gel. I think that's one of the problems that we've had in the past with our offensive line. We've shuffled. And I think hopefully Joe Douglas has learned from his mistake when he got that center right out of retirement. They had no time to gel or whatnot. And then it was just a shit show from there. The quarterbacks being just dragged around like a rag doll. It's time for these guys to get everything settled out, especially up front. They have to learn from their mistakes. I don't even want to bring up Darnold, but again, you can't. You have to learn. You got to start building around a young quarterback, and I think they do have a great nucleus with the coaching staff as well. You got your passing coordinator, your offensive coordinator, quarterback coach. honestly, Wilson is there to be groomed the right way. But the only thing is, you got to start surrounding the guy with weapons.
Well, so Dan, do you buy into this notion that the offensive line we have in place right now isn't that bad? They were just so poorly coached and poorly schemed last year that we kind of like underappreciate them?
That is a possibility. Again, you have a lot of players, not only on the offensive line, that checked out. I mean, who wants to play for Gase? I mean, at that point, late in the season, you know, they want to play for their jobs, this and that, but they're just so deflated. And I actually like Alex Lewis, but not as a starter. I like them
right.
Like a Pat Elflein, just like that, which I was surprised that they just let him go. You know, just as a depth guy. But a lot of these players, like Van Roten, same thing. For me, it's just one of those depth guys, and you need upgrades. And if they come throughout the season just to sub in, I think we'll be fine. They'll showcase to everyone that they're backups and they could fill in. But honestly, I think from every position last year, everyone checked out. Even fans, even a lot of us, we were doing freaking shotguns and shit in the middle of the first quarter.
But like, it's just weird. Like, and I guess because Joe Douglas signed these guys, he probably has more faith in them than we do, like McGovern and Van Roten. Like, those are his guys. Even Alex Lewis is his guy. So he could be doubling down and saying, listen, these guys are actually good players. I didn't agree with the scheme. And then Mike LaFleur came in and said, listen, I can win with these guys. I can mold an offensive line out of that, which is fine. He just better be fucking right. Especially, like, I guess it's hard to see what happens until they actually go through the draft. Like, if they come out of this draft with only one offensive lineman, I'm probably going to blow a fucking gasket. I'm going to be out of my mind. But it's just, I guess it's going to be interesting to see their approach with that. And then the other thing, too, is how they're handling the quarterback position, where it's like, okay, you got rid of Darnold. Now you have your rookie pick, and you have Mike White and James Morgan. So to me, people are trying to like undervalue a veteran quarterback. I don't know why, because that's we said Sam needed that. We've always said you need to have that veteran guy in the room to help you, guide you through, help you read defenses, help you establish your work ethic, help you establish all these things, and be that like mediator in between the coaching and the quarterback. So now it's like, Brian Hoyer, is that the guy? Is it Alex Smith? Like, it's just weird how they handle the backup quarterback spot, too. And I guess Nick Mullins could be a guy, too, because he's still hurt. But you got to get somebody, dude.
I think that's the whole plan. Honestly, I think they're probably going to overspend for Alex Smith, and that's the right thing to do. You have to get Alex Smith in that quarterback room. I don't want Hoyer. In all honesty, what has Hoyer ever done? Nothing. Like, absolutely nothing. At least Alex Smith has something there that he's worked with. He has a good body of work, and also tutoring. He tutored Pat Mahomes in that 1 year. Mahomes, even in a lot of interviews, he said he attributes a lot of his success NFL-wise, how to get ready for games.
And the other thing, too, is this is just not being, like, negative, but it's like, listen, like, if you have an Alex Smith, the guy can start, first off. And that could be important for week one. Say Zach Wilson comes in and he's not apparently ready, or just God forbid he gets banged up. Say he gets banged up, whatever it is. Then it's like, hey, you know what? You're implementing an offense. Have a guy that actually can run your offense and be effective and actually make your team competitive. Not a guy that you go in and you have no chance. Like Brian Hoyer to me is like Luke Falk. He's terrible. He's not going to be any good.
Yep.
And
I agree.
You have you don't have a chance to win. So, like, this is where I was kind of hoping they got C.J. Beathard, but they didn't. But it's like you have a guy that can run your offense and can be functional, can actually make you competitive if the rookie, for whatever reason, can't play. Like, I don't want to mail in games. Like, the one thing with Gase, when Darnold got banged up, they mailed it in. They didn't even try to win games. And that resonates throughout the locker room, dude. You're not competitive. Joe
Douglas cannot afford to start losing games and just mailing it in. There's no way.
Because the quarterback is complete shit.
You're right. Exactly. That's why, to me, he's going to overspend to get Alex Smith. You have to. That's like a given right there. You want to create an actual culture of winning, especially at that quarterback position. You want to have Wilson ready to start. And how do you do that? You have to get a veteran quarterback, just like the Jets did at the beginning with McCown. They should have kept him throughout the process of developing and the whole progression of Darnold. You needed that. But as the Jets normally do, what we're all accustomed to, is the floor just being pulled the rug being pulled right out. And they let him go. And they're like, all right, Sam, you learn on your own with shit. And he obviously he showcased what the coaches are all about and how not to develop a quarterback. Hopefully this time, and I'm
It's also good to have the competition too, man. Like if you have, say, I'm not saying Alex Smith is a Pro Bowl quarterback, and I understand all the different shit that he's dealt with, but if he's coming in and slinging the ball around and getting in and out of the huddle and all these different things, you're going to learn from that. It's also going to put a little fire under your ass too. Be like, all right, man, I got to step my game up because this guy's actually playing better than me, or he's doing better than me. Like it's not like you want like that. Yeah, I understand Zach Wilson's your guy, but you want that fire. You want that, all right, I got to learn from this. I got to be better than that. Like, set those standards in the room. Set the standards on the field. Like, have that, especially early on, man.
Without a doubt, it can go unnoticed. Like, you have to go into this season, as hard as it might be with the opponents, there has to be some competitive edge all around it. It starts at quarterback. Again, Kevin, I'm pretty sure I'm hearing you in the background when Tyson is saying that you got to place Alex Smith out there. Honestly, if we're going to do shit, we got to do things the right way. We cannot rush this, man. We have to learn from our mistakes.
No, dude,
Sam was ready. Sam was ready right off the bat. Sam was ready.
No, dude, I'm all about bringing in a veteran. I mean, like you said, Josh McCown was essential for Sam that rookie year. I mean, Sam leaned on him for a lot of shit. So I mean, that's exactly the kind of guy that you want for your rookie quarterback to be able to go to on the sideline after, he does something stupid. Like, hey, what'd you see out there? Just having that guy that he can lean on. So, yeah, I'm all about that. I just don't want to think about a scenario where my rookie quarterback isn't playing week one. I know all the scenarios with Aaron Rodgers and Pat Mahomes and the guys who have sat their rookie year, but, like I keep saying, if you're taking this guy at 2, you're telling me that he's a significant upgrade over what you had. So I'm thinking he should be ready to go.
Well, in the grand scheme of things, I think Wilson, that's what they have. They look at Wilson as being head and shoulders above and beyond better than Sam, but they have to give the kid some sort of time. Like, if he's ready, just not for nothing, Sam Darnold, for me, rookie year, preseason, he was the best quarterback there. He merited to start against Detroit. But if Wilson isn't, you cannot. You could set this kid back so much. And the kid has to learn how to, act professional, all that. He's going into a big boy room. This isn't BYU where, the oldest kid is, 22, 23. There's 40-year-olds in there. That he has to learn what it takes for longevity.
No, that's completely fair. If he shows you that he's not ready, I mean, that's one thing. But, I don't want to think about that scenario where, the number 2 pick that we just invested in isn't ready week one. I know it's not the end of the world, but again, if you're saying that he's that much of an upgrade, I'm thinking that his rookie year, he should be ready to play, and he should be able to play right away.
Yeah, but Kevin, and I agree with you. Listen, number 2 pick, you should play, but if you catch him to training camp or whatever happens, and he's not 100% ready, then I'm not going to throw him out there and be like, fuck it, you're number 2 pick, you have to play. It's like, you know what, you're not ready, you have to sit, whatever else.
I agree with that.
But my whole point is that you have a whole new offense, a whole new system. I don't want to start mailing in games already. Like, well, we're just going to throw Brian Hoyer out there. Fuck it. Let's get our asses beat. Like, I don't want to sit through that again, man. Like, have a confidence.
Yeah, we're done with that shit. Like, enough. I want to start rooting for my team, to win as opposed to losing. Like, I've never done that before, and that shit sucks me.
That shit.
We got to start winning games. We have to start being competitive. And why not have an Alex Smith there? If he needs, $10 million a year, go for it. Fuck it. Do it, man. It's for the betterment of your young quarterback. You'd never want to be at the position that we're going to be in 3 weeks. We don't want to start picking players, the top 3 picks, ever again, especially when we pick Wilson. We want to do things the right way, and I think they're gearing towards that, and I'm pretty excited with that.
Dan, thanks for calling, man. We appreciate it.
All right, fellas. Keep doing what you're doing. Later, Pete.
Have a good night.
Have a good night, man.
All right, next up, our good friend John in Lakehurst. What's up, man?
Oh, shit. What's going on, guys?
What's up, John?
Where are you at now, man?
I'm back in Virginia, headed to Alabama. I'll be in Alabama
there you go.
tomorrow. Yeah. Yeah, the freight rates went up, so I've been trying to work as much as possible because it's been pretty good money, so a little chance to catch up. because it slows down in the winter. So it kind of picked back up earlier than usual. So it's pretty good right now.
Dude, hey, man, I respect the hustle, dude. I can completely relate to that with 100%. So now that the dust is settled, man, you're nice and calm and relaxed. I can see your demeanor's nice and just chilling out. What are your thoughts about this draft, the draft after the second pick? So do you think Joe Douglas is going to draft based on value, or is he going to based on need?
I've been really up in the air about this because I kind of flip-flopped on it, like, because I know we need corner, but then I know we need to get linemen in. And then yesterday I listened to your live stream while I was driving today from last night, and I think you made a really good valid point with like getting the Creed Humphrey at 23, because then it's kind of like he's learning the playbook with Zach Wilson, with Becton.
Yep.
Like, everybody's kind of on the same page, and then, like, there's that, like, gelling, you know what I mean? It's not like, not relatable. Yeah, he's, like, coming into the system with Wilson. So then I think they can grow together. And then I really wouldn't even mind about, because I didn't think he would drop this far. And then I have a different scenario I've been thinking about, too. But Wyatt Davis, they were saying he should be available at pick 34. And I think that would be phenomenal, because then you'd have him next to Becton, you'd have Humphrey in the middle, and then you just kick McGovern and keep Fant, because I think Fant overperformed, and I think he's, like, agile, strong, and I think he did a decent job. And then with McGovern next to him instead of Van Roten, I think that would improve his game from McGovern being center. He might be able to see things that Fant's not seeing on the field as far as blocking scheme. But I wouldn't mind double dip. I feel like at that point, like, it would be a home run at that point with the weapons we got in free agency and everything. I feel like if we double dipped and got like those two guys or comparable guys. Like I know Leatherwood the tackle, but maybe start him at guard or something like that if you couldn't get Davis. But that, you know, and I know it's not the sexy pick, but it's kind of like then like Zach Wilson had a pretty good line at BYU, so now if you threw him in there with a bad line or whatever, like I you know what I mean, but you're expecting the same results, I think it's kind of setting them up for failure. So I think we got to at least put that in front of everything else, even though the weapons are fun and I know we need a corner. But
now, are there any positions that would No, I was gonna say real quick, are there any positions that would piss you off, like if the Jets went, 23 at, like a tight end or something like that, or interior defensive line? Like, is there any positions that you want to avoid?
Mainly just I really don't want to do that Farley pick. If he falls into the second round, then I would say go for it. But I think that 23rd pick, unless somebody unless Horn falls, which I don't think he is. I think the only way it would piss me off, and I know it would be cool to have a weapon if we took Wilson at 2 and then Etienne at something at 23, and then I'd be like, I mean that's kind of cool, because he's a weapon, but not cool because he's not going to be able to run the ball and Wilson's not going to be able to throw the ball if they're not protected.
No.
The main thing I like is that center. Go ahead.
Yeah, I kind of like what you were saying about double dipping on the O-line. I mean, you can make a very valid case to, take a guy like Creed Humphrey 23 and then go Wyatt Davis 34. And then, I mean, you're pretty much set at that point with your offensive line. You can, have Van Roten or Lewis as one of your guards, or you can still pick up another veteran and maybe have your other guard there. And, yeah.
My thought on that was if we did do something like that, we have so much draft capital left still, and draft capital that we have next year, I forgot who said it. I was listening to one thing, and it was we between Jamal Adams, Williams, Leonard Williams, and the Darnold trade, we literally have a whole nother draft between this year and next year, of extra picks. So like if you did double dip like that, like you could easily pair stuff from next year and this year to move back into the second round. Or I really think it's going to be something that we're not expecting, like because all these quarterbacks are going to go. I think that's going to throw some stuff off. I think a couple trades will happen that'll throw some stuff off. And I think Joe Douglas, rather than trade back to get more picks, he gathered all this stuff to move up if he sees something that he wants, like from 23. I could really see us packaging 23 and like a future pick. Like we have enough ammo to move up if somebody slips. Like say it's pick 10 or whatever, and Horn's still on the board. If he really wants that like dynamic corner, then go up and get him. Or Elijah Vera Tucker, because they're saying he's like can't miss. Or what if the Kyle Pitts even slides down? You know, we might be able to work something out with Detroit and trade up there. We have like so many picks. I think it'll be the opposite, kind of what he did last year, where he was trading back to game picks. I think he's going to use the picks that he has to move up and move around the draft more aggressively. Because if we get those like 4 or 5 difference makers this year, it'll really change the team. Plus, then you have second free agency and all that. There's still a lot of guys out there. What do you guys think?
If you're moving up, do you prefer to like trade, let's say, you know, both of your second or third rounders this year, or would you prefer to deal some of your picks from next year?
Deal some of the picks from next year. Like let's say you paired the 23rd overall with the 23rd overall next year, and then like one of those extra fourths that we got, or our fourth from the Panthers. And like with that, we could literally move back up into like the top 10, I think, or like between like 10 and 14. You know, I think that would be enough draft capital to move up, or maybe it'll be something like you know, I'd rather use the stuff extra from next year, because even if you take all that away next year, that extra stuff, and you just use that to move around this draft here, then next year you still have all your draft picks. You still have your 7 picks that you would have had. You know what I mean?
And plenty of cap space.
Yeah, and plenty of cap space. And a lot of free agents will be available next year, too. I wanted to touch on the Alex Smith thing.
Good.
I thought that was a good idea, right? And then the more I've been thinking about it, it's kind of like Primetime was just saying, like, we're drafting Wilson second overall. Like, he should be ready. Not that we shouldn't bring in a veteran, but bringing in somebody of, like, Alex Smith's caliber who still wants to be a starter. Like, so let's say we bring in Alex Smith, and then now they go through preseason, and we're going to roll with Alex Smith the first game or whatever, like that. And then by week 4, now they want to pull Alex Smith out, but we put Wilson in good, and he shits the bag like a couple weeks in a row. Now, because that's almost like a locker room controversy, because the team was winning.
No. But this. I think when you sign a guy like Alex Smith, it's very similar with the way I'm old, so I remember the Kurt Warner, Eli Manning shit. But like, you sign him with the clearly knowing what you're getting yourself into. We're not bringing you in here to be a starter. This isn't no Ryan Fitzpatrick bullshit where, like, he plays and then wants to hold the team hostage and everything. Like that shit became a nightmare for Tua down there, and that's why the Dolphins didn't bring back Fitzpatrick. So you can't have that scenario. Like, you bring in a guy here and say, listen, Alex, the market's obviously not big for you because it's right now, it's what, April 12th, 13th? You're not signed anywhere. So people aren't knocking down your door to bring you in here. So you're not going to be a starter. We're going to let you come in here and compete and do the best you can, but our goal is to have Zach Wilson play as soon as possible, and that could be week 1. And if it's not week 1, if we think it's week 3, then it's week 3. You're going to play 3 games, and then no matter what happens, you're going to be out. And you have that conversation. If he's like, you know what, I don't want to be a part of that, then you're not for us. But you have that. That's a conversation you have right off the bat, dude. Like, we've dealt with that shit with fucking Fitzpatrick, dude. Like, no, I'll pass on that.
That's what I was afraid of. Go ahead, Primetime.
I was going to say, like, those things you can't really predict, though. I mean, veteran players, they want to win. If you end up signing Alex Smith, even if it's to be your backup, and he's the better quarterback in training camp, and he wins the job, and the Jets get off to 3-0 start with Alex Smith, do you really think that Zach Wilson's going to play as a rookie?
I mean, that's the best case scenario. Saying if he is he like light years ahead of Zach Wilson at camp, or if they're neck and neck, the kid plays. You know, like he's got to be like an absolute playing at a Pro Bowl level, and Zach Wilson's got to look like fucking Hackenberg. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
No, and I really think that Wilson would be ready in that scenario. I'm just afraid of that scenario, like vice versa, because you know what I mean? It's a whole group of guys, one team, like Primetime says, they want to win. But even if we started with Wilson and there was like that rookie struggle and everything, and like there's guys that Alex Smith's been in the league a long time, and there's guys on our team that are like, hey, maybe Alex should get a shot. You know what I mean? So I'm just saying,
I understand what you're saying, dude, but I think
locker room.
But I don't think. I think as an organization, you have clear communication from your head coach, from your general manager. Listen, we're starting the rookie. I mean, I'm sure when they signed Corey Davis, they told him this shit. I'm sure Carl Lawson knows. They know what they're getting themselves into. You're coming here with a rookie quarterback, and there's a very good chance this first year is not going to be a playoff year. Obviously, you're going to shoot for it. You want to shock the world. You want to do all this shit, but there's going to be growing pains for him. But guess what? There's going to be growing pains for this coaching staff, too. They're all first-time coaches. So they're going to make mistakes, too, man. Salah, LaFleur, all these guys are going to fuck shit up. So it's going to be clear communication throughout the team. Say, listen, man, I understand, but we got to stick with our kid. We got to do this. There's going to be no dissension. This is why I like that it's like they're all on the same page by drafting this kid, where there's no agendas here, where it's like the head coach isn't like inheriting him. The general manager's not inheriting him. This is their guy.
As
a team, they're picking him. So they're going to tell the team, listen, this is our guy. We're going to build through him. We got to stick with them. Deal with it. If you don't like it, it's our way or the highway. You're out of here. So they can handle that, dude. I think that's a different message. But I also I just don't want to like this. Obviously, worst case scenario, if he's not ready or if he gets whatever happens, I just don't want to come out week one with a quarterback that we know can't win. It's just like not even competent or competitive. Like obviously James Morgan isn't going to be it. Mike White's not that guy. Like just bring in a proven guy, dude.
I think that's where they fucked up a little bit with the C.J. Beathard thing. You know what I mean? Because it was like the C.J. Beathard thing. Like, not that Alex Smith won't do that. I totally do agree with you. Like, I feel like that conversation would be had that you're the backup, that we think this kid's going to be ready and this is going to be your role on the team. You know, if you don't want to do that, then don't sign. But what I meant was, like, it would have been so much easier with, like, a C.J. Beathard who's just consistently been a backup. You know what I mean? Where, like, he knows his role, the backup, and he knew the system. What about the other dude, Nick Mullins? Is he still available?
He's available. He's hurt. Yeah. Who knows if he's going to be ready. So.
Too. Yeah, because you don't know if he's good. Like you said, you just don't want like something to happen. Like when Sam got the mono, and then like it was just terrible. Like we knew we were going to lose.
Yep.
But then again, you don't want the Flacco veteran, like where Sam's still sitting alone on the bench as he's struggling. So it's like.
Well, that's what you got to find a good mixture of a guy that wants to be supportive and actually gives a shit. You know what I mean?
Right, like the Cal was so perfect for that.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Yeah, no. But John, thanks for calling, man. We appreciate it.
All right, guys. Have a good one. Take care.
You too, man. All right, next up, our good friend Matt in Philly. Matt, what's up, man?
What's going on, guys? How we doing? Great show so far.
Doing good, man. Haven't talked to you in a while. How you handling things?
I was in mourning when Sam left. You guys all knew I was a Sam guy. I gave myself a week to kind of pout about it, but now you got to look to the next guy and try to find the positives and just, you know, always support your team no matter what. So that's where I'm at right now.
So are you all behind the Zach Wilson train now? Are you ready to go like full speed ahead with this?
I mean, I'm trying my best, Tyson. I am. I'm trying to look at your tweets. I'm trying to look at Jets Twitter, try to get behind this kid because it looks like we're taking him. I mean, have you guys heard any chatter about Fields at all? Because I don't. It sounds like Wilson's just a sure thing at this point.
They're not even going to his second workout, I don't think, are they? Are they on the list for his second pro day?
No, I don't think they are.
Doesn't this kind of worry you though a little bit? Like I'm
not at all, man.
You know, I mean,
believe what
Primetime, I think it worries you a little bit. Come on.
Primetime's just angry as fuck, dude.
I'm trying to hide it.
I mean, yeah. Well, I'm looking
but Matt, but how about this, Matt? How about this approach? they have a conviction, man. They know who their guy is, and they're not backing down. Like, number 2 pick, there is no drama here. They found their guy, and they're sticking to it, and that's it. Like, they're sold on him. So, if anything, they have a decisive, unified approach. This is the guy they want. If that should make you at least feel better about that. They're not sitting to the last minute like, oh, shit, which guy do we want? We're not really sure. They know who they want.
Yeah, I do agree with the 3 things where we're on a united front. We're all in agreement. Solid Douglas. Everybody in the organization is in agreement. The contract resets, and it just seems like we have a fresh start completely. I wouldn't have preferred this route, obviously, and I'm kind of getting agita, like listening to you guys saying he might not be ready. I personally don't think he's head and shoulders better than Sam Darnold. I won't go into that rabbit hole, but it sounds like we had to let go Sam if the organization truly believes that. I'm obviously not an NFL scout, so I don't know what I'm saying, but to me, I'm worried considering the level of competition that the kid faced in college. He didn't really face a lot of pressure. Yeah, he could throw a crazy spiral ball without any pads on in a combine. I remember Mitch Trubinsky used to do that too. That's why the Bears took him at 2. And they let Deshaun Watson, a national champion go. I don't think he went 11 or 9. I can't remember. But, yeah, I'm a little worried. I have Ajita thinking that he might not be ready. And please fill me in on how you guys think he'll be ready. Because the man, if you really think about it, he can't get hit in practice. There's no preseason game. He's going to step in, and he's going to feel his first real hit from an NFL player. I don't know how many times he's been sacked last year in college. I would love to know the stat of how many are NFL prospects. I mean, maybe that's the edge rusher from Coastal Carolina. He might get picked in the 6th round. What do you think, Tyson? I mean, it's just it's nerve-wracking to me. It really is.
No, dude, that's one of the biggest reasons that I'm concerned, the durability. And didn't it even come out this week that he has another, separated shoulder that he's going to have surgery, or a torn labrum, I think, in his non-throwing shoulder that he's eventually going to need surgery on? So I don't think it's crazy to ask questions about his durability if, you're talking multiple labrum tears and, the other thumb injury that he had. I don't think it's crazy to ask those questions at all with him with that.
It's not even really a durability thing. It is, but it's also just it's a different speed in the NFL compared to BYU. I feel like Fields at least, was playing some really good guys and got hit by some really good players that are probably going to be in the NFL. I don't even know really the toughest team that Wilson played in college. I got to do some more research, and I'm not questioning if he can take a hit or not. We just don't know, I remember Fields got hit for targeting. He got back up and he won that game. It was awesome. Yep. Did he win that game? Yeah, he did. He did win that game against Clemson. I don't know. I'm just overthinking it over here as I usually do, but I'm hoping Tyson over there can put me at ease.
Man, you got to relax, man. You got to relax because it's a collaborative effort. They're all doing a ton of research. What I liked about it, if you did the one article, I think it was in Sports Illustrated, where Joe Douglas broke down how.
Me off. Oh my God! I know your thoughts on that article. I have a completely different viewpoint, but go ahead.
Fill me in. I don't know the article.
I'm trying to make Matt feel better. I'm trying to let them all just embracing the happiness where Joe Douglas had all the coaches go out and evaluate on their own all the quarterback class to say, okay, what do you guys all think? And come back with your individual evaluations so we can sit down as a group and each figure out who we like the best as a team and figure out, okay, who do we have in place now, Sam Darnold? What are these guys and what do we think is the best fit and where we should go? And as a group, they figure out, this is the direction we want to go. I like that they handled it that way, where it wasn't like Joe Douglas said, this is my guy, you guys deal with it. They're all working on it together. So that, to me, was encouraging where, as an organization, man, they're all in. They've done their research, and if you want to say Joe Douglas is a football guy, an excellent scout, and you want to give credit to his front office, which is highly touted and all got 5-year contracts or 6-year contracts, then you have that blind faith. All right, listen, man, they're making the best decision for this offense that they think is out there. So that's kind of where I'm like, fuck it, let's roll. I mean, we've dealt with many bad decisions, so maybe we have trust this time. But yeah, Prime Time, give you a spin on it.
Well, I was just going to say to counter that, it didn't give me the impression that they were really locked in on one guy in particular. It almost felt like it was a 50-50 coin flip in a sense. Like when you mentioned that they did the independent evaluations, it was the GM, the head coach, offensive coordinator, quarterback coach, and I think there was one other coach involved. And they all came away thinking that, yes, they can win with a rookie, but they also thought they could win with Darnold too. And they had 8 teams that were interested. So the fact that the Niners were calling the Jets for Darnold before they moved up to 3, that kind of, raised my eyebrows a little bit. Same thing with Matt Rule. We all love Matt Rule. Panthers invested 2 years in him. So clearly they have a high evaluation of Darnold. So, the fact that the Jets in their independent process also felt that they could win with Darnold, but chose the financial side of it where they could reset the clock and start with their own guy, it almost felt like that was the reason that they're choosing to go with the new quarterback, not because they think Wilson is that much better than Sam. That was my read from it. I'm sure I'll be called a hater for that, but go ahead.
No, listen, I think I can understand the financial – Joe Douglas admitted the financial aspect is big, man. He said it. He basically said it. It was
I don't think it should be. Maybe
it's not big. I don't think it's not. You're not crazy. You're not crazy. That's what I can't wrap my head around is that
unless
if that's
you're winning a Super Bowl in the next 5 years, 4 or 5 years, then it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, I agree with you. I really do. I really don't. If that's really the reason, like I'm trying to tell myself what everybody else on Jet Twitter world is saying, that Douglas has to believe that he's head and shoulders better, and I truly don't see it. So I have to rely on.
I think he does, and I think that at some point the Jets organization is trying to be very classy and respectful to Sam Darnold based on the kid that he is and all the shit that he's been through. And I don't think they want to come out and say, but you know what, we evaluate Sam. We think everybody's so much better than him that he has to fucking go. They made it seem like, you know what, and they also don't want to embarrass the Panthers too by saying we just gave you a damaged goods. I think they're trying to play nice, where it's like, listen, we think he's really good. We think he's solid. We think he's all this. But you know what? The financials and everything else. But I think they really believe that this is the guy they want. And the other thing, too, is I kind of think that when Saleh got interviewed, that was part of the interviewing process, too. It's like, listen, do you want Darnold? Do you want a rookie? Like, this isn't blindsiding anybody. Like, they were ready to do this trade before the free agency even started. So this has been coming for a while now. Like, what's being said to the media, I think they're trying to play nice a little bit, too. But I think in their hearts they think that this guy is a much better fit and is good for them. That's where they want to go. So I'm rolling. Like if it's him or Fields, I'm fine. Like I'm not saying it has to be Zach Wilson. They came out and said, Justin Fields is our guy and surprised us. It wouldn't bother me whatsoever. I'd be cool with that as well.
Yeah, but if it's in the Jets' parts that they think Wilson's way better, and I get it, they don't want to diminish Sam Darnold's value to the other teams, but it sounds like from this article that, the 49ers are on the phone before they could even decide what their heart wants. What does the heart want, Tyson? San Francisco already knows. They're in love with Sam Darnold. Matt Rule's in love with Sam Darnold. They're all picking their poison or they're picking their pleasure, whatever you want to call it. They're putting their name to a guy. So Matt Rule is putting $25 million down in his next 2 years on Sam Darnold. The 49ers are mortgaging their draft, and the Jets taking number 2 pick in the draft. Everybody's picking their guy, dude. They're using their conviction for the player they want to put their resume and their name on. They're all doing it, dude. That's Joe Douglas picked his guy. It wasn't Sam. Matt Rule took Sam. Kyle Shanahan's taking whatever. Mac Jones, or whatever he's taking. It's
and
just
those
the game
three,
of
who do you trust the most? Matt Rule, Kyle Shanahan, and Joe Douglas. Who do you trust the most?
Well, right now I don't trust any of them. What have they done? What has Matt Rule done?
I think they're all
really
great football minds.
Yeah, Kyle Shanahan. Yeah, but they all that's like the whole Denver Broncos thing. Like they're giving John Elway all this credit. The guy hasn't drafted a quarterback right in 15 years. So it's like
that's true.
It's all a crapshoot. Matt, thanks for calling, man. We appreciate it.
Thanks again, guys, and I'm hoping for the best here. Love the show.
You got to, man. It's a new era, man.
Have a good night.
Every 3 years, organizational failure is what this represents. But I have to look forward.
More of this, dude. Man, have a good night, man. So prime time.
Tyson, it's not even doom and gloom though. It's us getting our reactions out for what he just said was a justified failure over 3 years. I don't think it's wrong that any fan has like a negative reaction towards what's happened over the last week or so. If we're still talking about this in 3 weeks on draft night, yeah, but I totally understand where the frustration is coming from.
No, I understand people liking Sam Darnold. I understand people wanting Sam Darnold. I understand people not wanting Zach Wilson. But to come out and say, I think this kid's going to fail on April 13th, to me is ridiculous. We have no idea. Like to me, it's just like I'm already like I moved on. So it's like, all right, if you get him, I hope he's the guy. There's no guarantees he's not. There's no guarantees he is. But to automatically,
we all hope
the notion now. You know, but there's this notion now in the media. I'm not saying you in the media that there's a narrative like the Jets always destroy quarterbacks. The Jets always fail. This is going to be another one in the long line of the history of failures of the Jets. I think it's fucking ridiculous because they're not looking at the big picture now. This is a different team on so many different levels. There's so much change happening over the last 3 months. To pile on the same old Jets narrative to me is just fucking lazy and stupid. It's just – now, I understand – listen, I understand his skepticism as a lifelong Jet fan that, you know what, we've been down this path before, the hotshot quarterback. It doesn't work out. We just saw it with Sam. But, like, to automatically assume it's not going to work out, to me it's like, dude, I'd rather just try to embrace it and hope it works out this time.
No, man, I get that from the fan perspective, but again, like, you know, if we're looking at the organization and every decision that they've made over the last 10 years, I mean, ownership's still in place. I mean, I know, you know, Woody Johnson just came back, and we're hoping that he's
the best Twitter account the best Twitter account out there right now, man.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I think we're all looking for reasons for hope, but I think we want to see substance first. You know, we're tired of, you know, blindly just buying into everything that they're selling us, and you know, we want to see some substance before we start to believe in something. You know, we were just sold on Darnold 3 years ago, and you know, we're trying to sell ourselves on Saleh right now. We're trying to talk ourselves into, you know, Joe Douglas being this draft guru, and all these guys that we're trying to talk ourselves into, none of them have proven anything yet. And so, again, like when you're talking about the Jets as a whole, as an organization, we typically don't get these things right. So, yes, it's a new regime.
And my response to that is, and I completely agree with you, for the most part, we don't get them right. But now we have a general manager that has full control of personnel, who's well-respected with a highly touted offense. I had no idea what happened last year with the Adam Gase shit. But what makes me laugh about a lot of this is the scrutiny that Wilson is getting right now. Everybody's analyzing his fucking shoelaces, his hairstyle, his headbands, all this different shit. And nobody's saying, you know what? What was the biggest problem with the Jets the last 2 years? In theory, it wasn't the quarterback. It was the fucking coach and the offense and everything else. So if anything, if I have any level of skepticism and concern, I'm hoping all these new coaches know what the fuck we're doing, because right now we're assuming a lot out of his head coach, first-timer, his coordinator, all these – we're kind of all assuming it's a foregone conclusion, and I'm guilty of it myself, dude, saying, you know what, a Mike LaFleur offense, quarterback-friendly, easy reads, all this different shit, we're going to be fine. We assume a lot in terms of the coaching staff and the systems, dude, and if anything, if I have a concern going into it, it's all of that newness in the New York market and the rookie quarterback. That's a lot of newness. So to me, I'm less concerned about Zach Wilson and more concerned about the organization's handling of them and the implementation of the offense and the game management, all that stuff. That to me, that's where I get like kind of like the want to drink a lot of beer shit. I mean, I'm excited, but that's what makes me like, dude, there's going to be growing pains. It's not going to be just the quarterback. It's going to be the coaching staff too.
Yeah, and that was kind of my point last week. Like, there's a lot of new faces and a lot of prominent positions, and we don't know what any of these guys are at this point. And so a lot of people are celebrating this move, you know, starting over with the new quarterback. That's all well and good. Well, now we have to do what we didn't do the last time we took that quarterback and actually develop him the right way, with the right coach, with the right offensive coordinator and the right system, get him the right weapons, the right offensive line, draft well. You know, like now we got to actually start making decisions and start building it. And I think the other part that's kind of frustrating is that by taking a rookie quarterback, you're also kind of admitting that, you know, you are resetting things again. So the expectation of winning, you know, maybe this year or next year, it's probably not going to happen now. So we're probably looking at another, 3 years, maybe 2-3 years, you know, depending on what we do in free agency. And
I think the expectations are high next year.
I hope we're competing for a playoff spot next year.
I think it's next year, dude. I think this team is
a lot of things.
You're going to have a lot
of for that to happen.
Right, but I think the expectation I think the mindset's going to change a little bit here, dude, because they have pieces here. You're adding a lot of talent in the draft. You're adding a free agency, and next year you have the same ability to do it again. I think this year there'll be a tolerance of a 6-win season. Like, I'll be fine with that as long as the offense is playing well, the kid's playing good, and then next year it's like, all right, man, we got to fucking start, you know, set the bar higher. And Saleh seems like a guy, he's kind of like that anyway, but it's like, listen, we need to be in that 8-9 win where we're in a wild card hunt kind of deal shit now. We got to stop. You know, like, I'm giving it a year of just saying for everybody, because like I said, you have the coaching staff, all this shit you're going to figure out. You have all these new players, all this new stuff. And next year it's like, all right, you've had a year of this. And to me, this is going to be part of Joe Douglas's plan. Like, he had all last year to figure out the next 2 years. You know what I mean? This isn't like he's not getting blindsided by like, oh, fuck, I had to fire my coach. No, you knew this. Fuck, you knew this a year ago. You knew this already. So, but primetime, we're going to take a step away from Jets football. So, on our live stream, which you missed last night, but I had a special guest anyway, so don't worry about that. We have a caller that actually started to talk about George Kittle. What is your take on George Kittle as a tight end? Do you think he's one of the best tight ends of football?
I do. As a blocker and a pass catcher and a route runner.
Right. So now there is a caller on hold right now. I call him Rutgers. I can never say his name right. I think his name is Javid. But he is telling us that George Kittle is always schemed open. He's like, there are better players out there. He's schemed open, and that's why he's so productive. Your thoughts on that?
I mean, I guess I got to watch some more film, but, I mean, as far as what I know, George Kittle, I mean, he gets open, he makes plays after the catch, he can block. You know, when he's guarded, he still gets open. So, I mean, maybe there's part of it that's scheme-related in that Shanahan offense, but Kittle's still a beast.
So, and my response to him was, I'm like, look at Travis Kelce. Look at the Kansas City Chiefs offense. Are these guys all not being schemed open? Like, when you're on a high-flying offense, you find ways to get them open. If anything, George Kittle in the 49er offense is like their receivers were decimated by injuries. Like, they're always making – he's like a feature guy that always got to be accounted for, and he still puts up numbers. So, and then what Rutgers tries to do, I know exactly what he's going to try to do right now. He's going to try to come on and talk Jets. We ain't talking Jets, dude. When you offer up these hot takes 2 live streams in a row, you got to come on here and defend yourself. Do you agree?
No, welcome to our world. Right? We got to do it for 2 hours straight. I think he should be able to do it for 5-10 minutes.
And you know what he tried to pull last night? He pulled an Adam Gase last night. He tried to pull this bullshit. He goes, go watch the tape, man. Go watch the film.
No.
That's what he told me.
Oh,
yes, he did. You know how that went with me, man.
Rule number 1. That's
go watch the tape, he told me. Like, what the fuck? So now we're going to bring on Rutgers. What's up, man?
Hey, guys.
What's up, dude?
I really did want to talk Jets, but
how was that intro, man? Was that a good intro for you?
I thought that was a great intro, but I didn't want to talk Kittle.
Well, I got to get Primetime caught up to speed, man, because there's a Let's Talk Jets controversy now. Now you're a controversial guest. Primetime's got to know about it, man. I can't have a secret with him.
I was just going to wait for the Twitter post of the breakdown, I guess.
So wait, so tell me about this film that I need to watch on
basically, PT, what I was saying, right? I closed my document, but what I was saying was.
Oh, now he's got documents now. What the?
I mean, when I came on the show and I tried to give some numbers before this. This is what Tyson did yesterday. I literally tried to talk, and before I could even really get my points across, he kept pulling up the chat and they were roasting me crazy. It was really fun though. I want to say basically my point was this: when you look at a lot of these different plays and you watch it, where you watch the defensive coverage and you watch the way that they run. You watch the way that they run plays and they run motion and they run play action in order to misdirect the defense and to get him open. There are many of the plays on many of his catches where he literally just comes free by himself. Like sometimes he ends up uncovered just because. And I'm not trying to say that he's a bad player. I'm just saying that. Saying that there's more times than not when you watch the play and you actually see it, and I'll get it done. I'll show it so I don't have to be just telling you guys to go watch the film yourselves. That he just ends up wide open by himself without actually having to do as much as some of the other tight ends, in my opinion. When I watch like different tape from for example, Waller and Kelce, where Kelce is pretty much always man covered and always single covered. I think you see a lot of teams try and play zone against the 49ers to keep everything in front of them with all the different misdirections and all the play action, all the runs, so that they end up being able to leak him out and get him wide open, and then he makes amazing plays with athleticism.
Primetime, your thoughts?
Like I say, I mean, I guess he's making some valid points if I watch the film and what he's saying is accurate, but even still, I wouldn't say that's like his fault, though. Playing in the right system that gets him open. I mean, that's I think something that you could look at, like Tyson was saying, with most tight ends.
But I'm not. That's my thing. I'm not trying to say it's his fault. I'm just saying sometimes we overcredit players who are good, admittedly, but who also play in a very good system. And sometimes we would more if you were talking about Kittle, you're more likely to talk about how amazing Kittle is and not mention Shanahan at all. That's my point.
Well, then you also look at who Kittle's been dealing with the quarterback too. But so then that's an interesting point you're making. So who else do you consider players that are overrated then?
I mean, right now, I think it's hard to just jump on because I don't really watch a lot of. I mostly watch the Jets, and I can't really say any of our players are really overrated.
You're clearly a 49ers expert.
Well, because I started watching some more of the Shanahan offense once we signed Saleh, we ended up with LaFleur.
Well, you threw that thing out there. You said we as fans tend to overrate people, but it's actually the system. So then we as fans, give us some examples then.
Well, for example, one of them that someone brought up last night, in my opinion, Jimmy Graham was balling out of his mind in New Orleans, and then he left the team to, go get some more money and go on different teams. And he ended up in Seattle, and he just kept bouncing. Was he Green Bay as well one time? He was
but wasn't it because of injuries too?
He was injured, but he didn't play that well when he was playing. I mean, he had a decent year last year in Chicago. What?
Give us some more current examples. Give me two players this year that you think are overrated.
What was the name of the guard who left the Patriots and he went to the Giants and he wasn't that good? I think Zeitler?
Nate Solder?
Oh no, Solder. My bad, Solder. Sorry.
So now you're gonna go to offensive lineman now. Give me some skill players.
Give me football.
But nobody walked around saying Nate Solder's the best player in football. We're saying give me two players let's give me two players that you think are completely overrated that put up good numbers every year.
Well, I mean, I think DK Metcalf's overrated, but that's less about the system. That's more about. Wait, what do you mean? What? Are we serious? I want to talk about Jets.
Wait,
how we ended up DK Metcalf
overrated? DK Metcalf, that dude?
I think DK Metcalf's a bit overrated. Yeah. I mean, I've talked about this before in the chat during shows, and some people have agreed with me. I think when you watch DK Metcalf, he's a great. What?
So prime time, just to go through with 83 catches, 1,300 yards, and 10 touchdowns, and that's overrated. That's just not.
In his second year?
Yep, second year.
I mean, I can think someone's a good player without thinking he's overrated. I mean, if you see some of the things people say about DK Metcalf comparing him to other wide receivers,
hold on. So what's your definition though of overrated? Like, is he not a number one wideout in your opinion?
I think he's a number one wideout. I just don't think he's better than some of the guys that the DK Metcalf fans go around saying he's much better than.
So who would you say is better than him that people don't think is better than him?
For example, just one player who, when I watch, for example, A.J. Brown. If you see A.J. Brown do any highlight, if you check under the comments, you'll probably see someone saying DK Metcalf's still better because they were teammates in college. And even though those two players don't look at it like that because they're both friends and they want each other to succeed, you see a lot of fans just come here and knock other players to say one. And I think A.J. Brown is one of the most underrated wide receivers in the NFL. And I think no one talks about how A.J. Brown has pretty much been so good in Tennessee, even from his rookie year. And then he's been banged up, until he misses some things, so his stats aren't as amazing. But if you watch A.J. Brown as a route runner, he uses his size well, he has speed, he makes great catches all the time. And I think there's a lot of receivers out there who don't play with amazing quarterbacks, so we don't see them all the time. And then we overvalue some players over others that deserve more talk. Like, how many people actually come out and talk about how good of a receiver DJ Moore is? I mean, you see it all the time through the NFL, and that's just my point.
Okay. All right. So
DK Brown. I mean, I wouldn't personally take him over DK, but I could see the argument, I guess.
I mean, I think DK kind of has he's
different players.
He's so strong. Yeah. DK is an athletic beast. But I think A.J. Brown is more polished as a receiver at this current moment. Where you look at a lot of DK's big plays are just pretty much go routes or deep routes in terms of stuff like that. When A.J. Brown, I think he runs a more varied route tree in Tennessee. But then again, that has to do with the fact that Seattle's offense hasn't been that great as of late in their scheme.
Yeah, you're dealing with a run first offense, all that bullshit. He's a freak athlete, man. He is just ridiculous, especially in year two.
DK's crazy.
Look, all right, so we'll let you off of these takes, and then we'll let you talk some Jets, man. So what would you like to discuss with the New York Jets?
I want to talk about the draft. I've enjoyed all the draft talk as of late. I think there's a few opinions that I don't really agree with, but I don't really see anything that I really want to fight over. I think I at 23. I think I really like it if Farley would fall. You know, I see a few people saying, you know, they probably wouldn't take him or they wouldn't look for him, or they probably value some other positions. But I think when you look at Farley with, you know, how big he is as a corner, he's 6'2", 207. He hasn't officially ran a 40, but they say he has 4.3 speed. So even if they're overrating him a bit, he's a really fast guy. He has lateral quickness. He's very polished as a corner. He was, in my mind, and the mind of some others, like the number one corner in the draft. And due to injury, he's falling. And I think if you find a player like that, where if you think the injury isn't that serious, I think you have to grab him, because if he gets healthy, he can be a player that really looks good. Like I think the same thing with Bryce Hall, where Bryce Hall, he would have been probably a second or third round pick, and then he fell all the way to the fifth round for us because he had extensive injury history and he came out since the draft.
Fair point. Prime time, your thoughts?
I mean, if it's a serious injury, I'm taking that player off my board at least in round one. I mean, I'm not risking anything with the injury history that the Jets have had over the past couple of years. We need bodies that can stay on the field. Even last year's draft class, you know, our two best picks, Becton and Mims. I mean, how many injuries did they have last year? So, you know, I'm taking certain medicals and taking those guys off my board probably round one and round two.
Yeah, I think they said he did well during the injury evaluation. I don't think he did well enough to where a team if the Cowboys picked the corner at 10 would take him over, you know, a Surtain or Horn. But I think he looks like a prospect to me that they say he's doing fine. I also want to just push back on the thought that, you know, the Jets may trade up. So, for example, you know, we had people mention trading up to like 7 or 10 or for a playmaker or even like the middle. I mean, to the early teens. I think if you, I've been kind of feeling like Charlie from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, looking back at Ravens draft history and Ozzie Newsome's different moves he's made since like the 2000s when Douglas joined the team. And if you look at the different moves they've typically made, I think they trade back a lot in the first round. They stay on pat when they're high in the first round, but from like from late the first round, they trade back a lot. If they move up, it's only a few spots at most. And they typically will always make a trade up in day two. So in the second or third round, they'll typically always try and move up and grab a guy as he starts to fall. And I'm looking at the history of it. You know, it's worked out pretty well for them, where they've gotten some pretty talented players. And I think looking at that model where you see how Douglas has been kind of mirroring how the past staff he's worked on has approached things. I think with the draft, how we talked about how the most important part of the draft is the second and third round, fourth round, and those are the really picks where he wants to key in to really build a team. I don't see him really just giving up 2 or 3 of those picks just to draft another day one guy when you can, say, for example, move back from 23 and end up at like 26, grab another one of those picks, then parlay it into a better player later on, you know?
No, that's fair. So that they might move down instead of moving up?
I wouldn't want to, but I think if the way I've been looking at their draft, I think it looks like if there's a player who falls who they like, they'll take him. But if there's not someone there, they probably won't reach. And if they can move down a few spots, they'll probably do it. They'd also likely, I think there's a chance we jump back into the first round from maybe 34. Because I think the Ravens have done that quite a bit through Ozzie Newsome's tenure, where he jumps into like say 29 or 30 and something like that.
So just so you know, man, your recent takes about George Kittle and DK Metcalf are on our Twitter account, and the responses have not been very positive. And now we have callers on hold that are going to have rebuttals to your takes, just in case you're wondering.
I mean, that's okay, but I honestly feel like sometimes when you're saying things like this, you know, people will disagree with you before really even giving you a chance to explain your point, which is what we saw yesterday in the chat, where as soon as we mentioned that I was going to talk about George Kittle again, you had all the roasts came flying. And some of the points I made went over.
Now you know what it's like. Yeah, now you know what it's like.
But we get both sides of the story, though, man. We're letting you offer your takes, but as you're offering your takes, I'm giving the full perspective. We want to give the full picture here.
I get it, but I mean, I think the one when you say things like, you know, DK Metcalf is overrated, there probably a lot of people will instantly just jump on that. But I'm not trying to say DK Metcalf is a bad player. I just think in comparison to some of the other players who he's definitely considered better than. I don't think like, for example, some of those guys, if you were to switch him with A.J. Brown, DJ Moore, some of those other guys who don't get talked about as much, would he actually be, like DJ Shark, would they be doing about the same things in Seattle? I think so. If they had Russell Wilson as their quarterback, I think they'd look better. I think
Shark
just as good as him.
And DK Metcalf are the same player?
Great. Shark has been struggling right now. But I don't think Shark is as good as them. But I think Shark is underrated.
DJ Moore is 5'11", 215. He's not in the same size
you don't have
as
to be
DK Metcalf.
Physical receiver to be a
it's
successful
like apples
receiver.
and oranges.
We're just comparing size. I get that, but I'm saying he could have been successful. We're just saying.
Wait, did you say are we comparing size? Yeah, we are comparing size. DK Metcalf's a freak.
I get that. I understand that. And that's why I love DK Metcalf. I'm just saying, when sometimes you see, there's the thing with these players. I'm not. Listen, if you want to talk about DJ Moore as not being a great receiver because he's a smaller guy, I think that's kind of ludicrous. Because DJ Moore does a lot of things in terms of. He does a lot of things in terms of his route running and how good of a receiver he is that a lot of receivers aren't as good at. And I think that's where we end up. I think talking about the size is important, but at the same time, there's a lot of different weapons you can use to get things done in the NFL. And before DK Metcalf was there, Russell Wilson had success with a lot of short receivers. He had Curse, he had Harvin, he had who's he have right now? Lockett. They're all small guys. He didn't have any major guys who were huge in stature. I'm not saying anything that's wrong. I'm being scapegoated here.
Rutgers, thanks for calling it, man. These takes just I actually tagged your Twitter account so everybody knows where they came from, just in case they want to respond to you. I'm good like that. So have yourself a very enjoyable evening.
I'm not even active on social media like that. Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Have a good night, man.
See, Prime Time now. See, isn't it fun to share the chaos that we deal with now? Isn't that it's fair, right?
Yeah, it feels good to be on the other side of it for once.
You should have saw last night, dude. The minute he started, the chat went nuts. I couldn't get him on the screen fast enough. It was just like, holy shit.
He should have known to let that die.
He came on. You know what he fucked up was he told Cassandra, he's like, oh, I want to come back on and discuss my take. So don't come on telling me that you're going to you want to prove yourself, because that shit never works out well. And they just, it was relentless.
Yeah, and definitely don't tell Cassandra too.
You got to see her waffle thing she made for Tyrone tonight, dude. Have you seen that yet?
No,
dude,
I haven't.
It is. She made a waffle truck for him with the pictures and his takes. Dude, it is friggin' hysterical. So we're going to go
Tyrone
to
tonight?
I have no idea. I texted him earlier today. He said he was gung-ho and ready to go, and I haven't heard from him since. So we're going to go to maybe he's I'm going to be nice. We're going to go to Zach. Zach, what's up, man?
Hey, guys. What's going on?
How you doing,
What's up,
man?
Zach?
Good. I just wanted to, talk a little bit about the Jets, what's going on, this upcoming draft, the excitement building up, especially with what Douglas has been doing. I think a lot of people are getting ahead of themselves and, they're ready to, rush on him and, just, in any way possible, just, kind of shred him for something he hasn't even built yet. But I do feel positive about what they're doing. Obviously, with the draft coming up, I do think that it's almost inevitable at this point. I do think that Wilson is that pick at 2. If he is somehow not the pick, I do think that pick would be Justin Fields. And I do think that going to be fine. And I do think that Douglas will build around him. And he has evidently gotten him he's gotten him Corey Davis. He's gotten him the Jaguars receiver, and it's gonna take time. And I think that's the thing with the Jets. Like you said, Tyson. Obviously, this team is not gonna get to the Super Bowl next year, but the expectations after year one should be pretty high. They should be able to get into the playoffs. They should be able to make some noise and be a team that teams in the league fear. And I really, I'm excited about the draft. And, you can't, I've been a diehard Jet fan, a long time, as definitely, a lot of people have. But, after just all these years of, excruciating pain and all this, not focusing on the offensive side of the ball, I think that, they're going to get it changed. And I think that Douglas is the right guy. Why did it take so long? Don't know, but I think that this is the right guy for the job. And, everything that he's, been doing, and again, not everything he's been doing is, excellent. Like, he could have gotten Joe Thuney, but, they didn't get him. But, I think it's just a process. I think people have to understand that, and they have to realize that, and I do think that, there are good things to come for the Jets. So what do you guys think?
Yeah, prime time.
Well, I agree that I don't think we should be completely killing Joe Douglas right now. I have a lot of questions about a lot of things, in particular the offensive line. And I'm curious, what your take is, as far as your level of concern right now with the O-line heading into the draft. Just because, there were a number of free agents out there, a few guys also from Oakland that got traded. It was just surprising that, with all these questions that we have along the interior, that not one of those guys was a priority for the Jets in free agency, because I felt that would have given us, a little bit of leeway in the draft where we weren't forced into, maybe having to take one, if not two guys fairly early, and we can focus more on those skill positions, getting a young receiver to grow with our quarterback, maybe even, being able to take a running back like Etienne at, if he's there at 34. So I feel like now we're kind of locked into the O-line. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, absolutely. And I really think you hit a point on that. And I think that, obviously Douglas wanted to feel out the market. He didn't just go jump and get the guy, the Jets. We all wanted Joe Thuney. Let's not kid ourselves here. We definitely wanted a guy like him, somebody with experience, somebody that can, help Mekhi and, build up the other offensive line. But I do think that this draft is going to be very interesting. And I don't expect Douglas to be quiet. I wouldn't even be surprised if he traded up. As crazy as that sounds, I think this is a draft where there's really one guy that is really, sticking to my head in terms of offensive playmaker, especially for a young guy like Zach Wilson, who can not only help Zach Wilson, but he can also elevate his game. I do think that one of those top players, if not the top player in terms of, like the top 10 picks of the draft, I think it's going to be Kyle Pitts. I mean, this guy seems to be the guy, the next breakout star, within the top 10 picks for sure. I mean, this guy's, his pro day was fantastic. But not even that, just his play at Florida, it was just evident in itself. And I think that, if I'm Douglas, I know it's crazy for some people to say, oh, you got to reach out and, it's crazy to just trade up for him. But listen, I think this is a guy that, this guy can be your tight end. He can be your Kelsey. And I think we could be, potentially looking at something similar to a Mahomes, Kelsey thing with Wilson and a guy like Pitts. I know it's crazy, but it's something that I think Douglas has to think through, as a possibility that, one of the, in my opinion, the hardest positions to actually find good, solid guys that don't get hurt is that tight end position. I think we see it in, year out. There's only literally like 3-4 tight ends that actually can stay healthy a full year. So I do think that the Jets need those.
How much are you willing to trade up, though, to get into the top 10? I mean, you willing to give up, let's say, like 23, 34, and a first-rounder next year?
Right, and that's definitely to not be taken lightly. I do think that Douglas has to consider all of his picks and, not over trade for it. But if he can find a good, comfortable trade that would make the Jets be able to trade up, into the top 5, top 10, and get that other pick. Because, again, at 23, the position I think they're going to focus at 23 is the cornerback position. There are 3 to 4 guys in my head that I can see them getting. I can see them getting Farley's an option. That guy, I forgot his name. I think it's Newsome or New. I forgot his name, but Newsome. He seems to be. I've seen people compare him to Newsome. I've seen people compare him to a guy like Jonathan Joseph. One of the lockdown cornerbacks. I mean, this team can use a Darrelle Revis, someone, this team needs to get back to its old ways of winning, believe it or not. But, again, obviously defense should not be the primary concern. It should be offense. And that's why I'm saying, you got to get a playmaker for him. I know they have Corey Davis, but just think of an offensive team with Wilson surrounded by guys like Davis, and then you have your go-to tight end in Kyle Pitts. And, you have these other receivers that, the Jets have that, they can use to build around a guy like Wilson.
No, I mean, I could definitely see giving as many playmakers as possible. I mean, Kyle Pitts ain't going to happen, but I mean, like you want to give him as many opportunities to have playmakers where you have a safety valve, you have a guy that can stretch the field, you have great yards after the catch players. I could definitely see that, man. And I think they're going to work on that. So thanks for calling, man. We appreciate it.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Take care.
Have a good night.
Good night, man.
Right now, our Twitter account is a mess, dude. Poor Rutgers, man. He is just complete chaos. But the interesting thing, too, one of the stories that's coming out today that nobody's really talking about because everybody's all into the draft is the players, man, that there is a decent chance that they may boycott all the voluntary workouts based on the pandemic and the agreement and everything like that. And that's going to be fascinating, dude, how that all plays out.
Yeah, I saw, who was it? The Broncos today, right? They were the first team that
issued
a statement on that.
Seattle, too, now. It's the Broncos, Seattle, and I think another team too. They're boycotting. They're not going to show up.
So, I mean,
that makes things interesting.
With a new head coach. I mean,
nope, not at all, dude. That's going to be real interesting to see how it plays out, especially when you have a lot of young players in here. You want to get their workouts in. You want to get just get some just FaceTime with the teammates and everything else. So we're going to go to Dylan in Long Island. Dylan, what's up, man?
Yo, how you guys doing?
We're doing good, man. How you doing?
I was doing good till I heard some takes on here.
Hello. All right, what you got?
Good.
I'm sorry. I'm still shocked of what is his name? Rutgers? You call him Rutgers?
I call him Rutgers. Yeah, I think he's Javed. Yep.
Did he really just say DK Metcalf was overrated? I just wanted to make sure I heard that right?
Well,
he said DK Metcalf was overrated?
Well, he did clarify, though. He said he thinks he's a great player, but he thinks, when other players compare him to the DJ Moores and other players like A.J. Brown, that those guys are probably just as good as better, but they just keep saying that DJ Metcalf is better than them. So he's just saying he's trying to compare some different players, saying – so I'm not saying I agree with him, but
I can see why he would make an argument there. Okay, so what about George Kittle? What was his take on that? I didn't understand
that one. I didn't understand. That one I didn't understand too much, to be honest with you.
I understood his argument. I just didn't agree with it. His argument was that Kittle is pretty much schemed open all the time. That it's not him actually beating man coverage.
He played 8 games, right? He had 600 yards in 8 games.
That was all the Kyle Shanahan scheme, though. That's what Rutgers is saying, though.
For perspective,
Shanahan scheming him
Chris
open.
Herndon had 280 yards in 16 games. Obviously, the numbers are different, bro. But he has 600 yards in 8 games. So if you were to theoretically double that, if he played all 16 games, right, and he was hurt. He was not, I think a majority of his games that he played, he was never 100%. He went out there because he wanted to help his team win. He had 600 yards in 8 games, and he wasn't 100%.
No, I'm a Kittle fan, dude. Like, I agree with you. I understand his perspective. But listen, I understand. But my response to him was, there's a lot of great players. Like, look at the Kansas City Chiefs offense, man. You have weapons all over the field, and they're all
everywhere.
With Bieniemy and Andy Reid get credit for their play calling and their schemes. Look at Sean Payton in New Orleans. Like, there's certain coaches that get a ton of credit for being innovative guys, but also they have excellent playmakers too. I don't want to I understand his point. I tend to give more credit to the players than the system sometimes, especially the elite ones, the top 2 or 3 of the position. So, but what are your takes? Go ahead.
No, you finish. You finish.
No, let's say we can go on to your Jets takes. I mean, it was his take, and I like to have fun with him and bust his chops a little bit because he's always challenging us. So it was nice to kind of turn the tables.
What was he talking about? Because when you're a tight end, right? There's unlike a receiver usually where you don't have to put as much effort. Like most receivers today, they don't put as much effort as blocking the receivers. Tight ends, usually most good teams who have a good running offense, like who prioritize the run, they have good blocking tight ends. Have you seen George Kittle block for his running? He's running over people. Like
one of the best in football.
He first of all he helps me. If you here's one for Javed. If you watch the film, right, when he's on the edge, he puts his hand on the whoever is the edge, and then he gets to the second level, and then he blocks the middle linebacker. He pancakes the middle linebacker, and then he's all the way downfield against the safety. How many tight ends do you know is that overrated? I don't know, because I don't know many tight ends that can do that, with maybe the exception of one or two.
I'm with you. I'm completely on your side, man.
I don't know.
I'm in agreement.
Ridiculous. Oh God! And then it's the same thing with DK Metcalf. He thinks he's overrated, but what, does DJ Moore and what was the other receiver's name and AJ Brown do they match and tussle on the field?
Nope.
I don't think so.
That was my point against him too. Was he was comparing guys, but the guys that were being compared were basically apples and oranges, just based on his size, athletic ability, the offense he's in, and everything else. It's just,
bro.
I understand his point, but I just didn't agree with it.
Bro, I'm crying. Oh God, that was the most ridiculous take ever. And he doesn't miss. He doesn't usually miss on takes, but that was a big miss. I don't know.
So what's your takes on the Jets draft, man?
Oh man, I posted this on Twitter, but I was just saying, man, I think I'm kind of with you, Tyson. I think it doesn't matter as long as it's between Fields or Wilson. I think that as long as our coaching staff is able to develop the quarterback, I think they could both be studs in their own right. Because obviously, they both have different strengths and they both have different weaknesses, right? For example, you can say that Wilson has the stronger arm, but then again, you could say that Fields has the better competition. I think that depending on as long as our coaching staff develops them right, makes them take the right reads, makes them is overall better player, and make them truly NFL ready before week 1 or preseason, I think they can both be studs. At first I had Zach Wilson as my favorite, but I think that they both can be studs, and they both. I'm tired of all these narratives saying that one is better. The Jets are going to take this. The Jets are going to take Fields. There's no point of arguing because they both can be good. I think, especially under this new system under Saleh and Mike LaFleur, I think they both can be good. I think as long as our coaching staff develops the quarterback, I think they can both be good. But I'm not gonna be picky about it and be like, this is one. But regarding our second first round pick. Obviously, whoever our quarterback is, I think whoever is the best cornerback or offensive line available at 23, I think that's who we should take our pick. Especially interior O-line, I think that's one of our weaknesses. As obviously, Primetime is still mad about that after the free agency thing, and our secondary outside of Marcus May is absolutely atrocious. So, like the previous caller said, I'm thinking Greg Newsome the third. Or Asante Samuel out of FSU. I heard that maybe Caleb Farley, he could fall to 23. He's a lot of draft boards are saying that he's the number 1 rated corner. I think the only person ahead of him might be Patrick Surtain, but he'll probably be gone. But I think that Caleb Farley probably has the most upside. But if we can somehow get him, I think in a couple of years, I think the Jets can say that we have a steal of a cornerback.
Primetime, your thoughts?
Again, I can't say I've watched a ton of film on the corners, but yeah, I'm hearing the same names that you're pretty much talking about. I think all of them could be in play at 23. Same thing at receiver with guys like Rashad Bateman. If he slips to 23, I think he's in play. And then the offensive linemen that we've been mentioning now for weeks. Creed Humphrey, Wyatt Davis, Landon Dickerson. I think all those guys, Elijah Vera Tucker. I think all those guys are in play at 23. It's just a matter of who Joe Douglas prioritizes, what position he prioritizes. And like we were saying before, what's the depth? Rounds 2, rounds 3, what positions does he feel confident in maybe addressing in the later rounds too?
Yeah, I personally don't like Landon Dick. I'm a Bama fan too. I don't like Landon Dickerson, or I don't like Creed Humphrey at 23. I think that we can. I think we can get them later. I don't think we need to take my 23. I think we can get that 34 instead. I think personally I would go corner and then offensive line. But I guess whoever is the best player from their respective positions, I would take. But I think we can get Creed Humphrey or Landon Dickerson. 34. I think 23 is a little bit early for them, especially for Landon Dickerson.
That's a hot take. Sure. That's a bold take right there. Dylan, thanks for calling, man. We appreciate it. Great stuff.
Yep. See you guys later.
Have a good night, man.
Have a good night. All right, prime time. We're going to go to a legend who last night, this guy called in. Jose called in, man, and he brought the absolute fire. I mean, he was on for a few minutes, and the jokes started out early, and they were endless, man. He was basically a celebrity phone call, man. He was on top of his game last night. So you definitely missed a.
I was gonna say, what did he do without having me to roast?
Well, dude, he took on me a little bit, and then he just I think he took a couple shots at you because you weren't there, and then he admired Legend he upgraded his attire. So my good friend Legend has a new headband now, which I don't think you've seen yet, but I'll send you a picture of him. You didn't even see his headband, man?
No. What are you doing?
But listen, even Cassandra gave me credit, man. Look, he got new attire, man. He's ready. Legend is ready for the draft. Jose gave him some credit for that. So let's bring on the man. What's up, Jose?
Hey.
Prime time's here for you.
What's up, dude?
Tyson, go check my Twitter. See,
I know Jose just absolutely roasted Tyrone. He said, "We no longer need Tyrone. We have Javed as the new Waffle King."
No. Well played.
Well done. Jose's just bringing it, man. Every week in and week out.
I now crown Javed King Waffle. Give him his bong. All right. Prime time.
What's up?
Real talk. Real sex talk.
Yeah,
what do you want to do with the 23rd pick?
What do I want to do, or what do I think the Jets will do?
Either or. Just
what I
talk.
want, what I really would like is for Rashad Bateman to fall to 23.
You're too fucking quiet. You're too fucking quiet. You're too quiet tonight.
I'm not quiet.
He's definitely quiet.
I'm answering your question. I was just saying, at 23, I prefer Rashad Bateman. Give me a weapon for a new quarterback, a guy that can grow along with Mims, along with Corey Davis, have a nice young trio to grow together. I don't think he's going to be there at 23, though, so you're probably looking at O-line. And I would be okay with doubling up on offensive line back-to-back.
So what cornerbacks drive you crazy? If they went corner.
What corner?
Corner.
Yeah, corner.
What corner do I want or don't want?
No, would it drive you crazy if they went corner with
not at all.
23?
Not at all.
Okay.
No, yeah, corner is an absolute need. At some point you have to address it, and I think that the depth at cornerback might not be as good as some other areas like O-line, like wide receiver. So, yeah, I mean, if they have a guy in mind at 23 and he's there, like a Newsome or a Farley, even if like a J.C. Horn somehow falls, I mean, that would be amazing. So, yeah, I think corner could be in play.
Yeah, I wanted to talk to the Waffle King. Instead, I'm talking. Instead I'm talking to a widow in prime time.
A widow?
I feel like a widow. That's what it felt like this past week. Just a piece of my heart just taken right out of me.
You know what, Jose, you're right, because Primetime has been in mourning. He has been in mourning because the motherfucker he's been quiet, not making no fucking videos. He's not tweeting. He's not doing shit. He's in true mourning, man. Like, everybody's waiting for his video to give his honest reaction. Like, we're all waiting for the Primetime Sam Darnold farewell video. We didn't get that. Like, what the fuck, man?
Even Rose
said
goodbye to Jack.
Oh, you didn't say goodbye to Jack? We didn't have a Sam Darnold rap yet. We have none of this shit.
No, I said even Rose said goodbye to Jack.
Oh, even Rose said goodbye to Jack.
Oh. No, what am I supposed to say? What am I supposed to say about this? I gave my takes last week on Monday, again on Tuesday on the call-in show, and everybody thought, oh, you're too negative. You got to embrace Zach Wilson. You got to just embrace it. Let it go. Joe Douglas knows what he's doing. He's a genius. You got to trust the process. Let it go. I'm letting it go.
We wanted to hear your farewell, like a farewell speech.
Is that what you really want? I will make a farewell Sam Darnold speech. If you really want a farewell
video,
speech, I will
we're
make
all waiting for it.
I made a farewell video.
Did you really?
Yes. I tagged you in it.
Yep,
I
sure
tagged
did.
you in it.
Yep.
You have to watch it.
Josie's making more videos than you are, Primetime.
Barely, but yeah.
I'll hold myself accountable. There will be a Sam Darnold farewell video by the weekend, and if not, then I'll shotgun 2 for you on Monday night.
Perfect.
All right, guys. Good talking.
Have a good night, Jose.
Go Jets. Love you guys.
Have a good night, man.
Good Jets. I love when he says "Go Jets" when he hangs up, dude. It fucking cracks me up. Holy shit. Dude, everybody's waiting. Like, everybody last night was like, where's Primetime? Where's his video? We want to see his farewell. Everybody's dying to hear this from you.
No, they're not.
They are. Dude, you have a huge following, man. They're all like, everybody's anxiously awaiting. They want your Sam Darnold farewell. They still want the Adam Gase farewell interview. They want the Titanic stream. They want to see your rap. And then don't forget, we have a guitar battle before our draft party between Elias and Tim. We got all kinds of shit going on here, man.
I don't even know how I do the rap now. He's a Panther. How's that going to go? Dude, I got to rewrite all the lyrics and shit.
Don't act like you wrote lyrics. Don't even pretend.
I had a few lines. A few intro bars.
We're gonna go to Afram. Afram, what's up, man?
How are you, gentlemen?
I'm doing great.
I wasn't planning on calling, but I just wanted to just throw in a few things. For Javid, in all fairness, his take was really, he didn't bring it up today, but his really was comparing Kittle with Waller from Oakland. He didn't bring it up, and he was all saying was just he feels as a receiver, he thought Waller was better than Kittle, and he didn't bring that up, so he was just focusing on Kittle. So in all his defense, but he has conviction, and I appreciate that. That's what I want to say on that one. As far as the draft, I think and take the card. And to me, I
He's breaking up really bad, right?
Yeah.
Hey, can you hear me now?
Now
can you hear me better?
Now we can.
How about
now we can.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, now
yep.
I hear you.
Yeah, I'm caught in a something over here. Depends if I move an inch here or an inch there. Did I leave off at?
We didn't hear pretty much anything.
So it's even better then.
Start from the top.
We heard everything after. We heard up until like the with Javid and the Kittle stuff, but then after that we couldn't hear anything.
Yeah, no. For me, it would be 23. I would get my center in Creed, and at 34, my guard in Wyatt Davis if they're there. And then I've got my line
so
that I want to deal
hold
with.
on, but I have a question though. So you're not worried about reaching if many consider that's too high. So you have no problem being aggressive and taking those guys there.
No, not one bit. No, if this is me, I want to get my line ready for my quarterback, regardless.
Okay.
You know, and I still have 2 3s and a 4 I can get still for the amount of people, the amount of talent that's out this draft. You can get another. You get an edge rusher on the third round. You can get a cornerback, because if you improve that front line, everyone behind them benefits from it. And my whole thing is I want 3 and outs. I want my offense on the field all the time. I want their offense off the field. As far as wide receiver, I really don't think they'll pick anyone high. I think they've got their wide receiver in free agency for this year. They got plenty of picks next year. They could get probably one of the better wide receivers that are coming out next year. We don't know who it is, but there'll be a lot more guys. Like I said last night, there'll be more teams be able to play. I figure all the conferences will be playing, so you get a better view of who's really good and who's going to be up there. So, remember, this is a 2-year. All these draft picks, you're building this team in 2 years, and for that third year, I do believe they'll make the playoffs. So it'll be very close. But for the most part, yeah, I'm trusting the process with Douglas and PT. You can love Sam Darnold all you want. I like your conviction, regardless of what team is. You love your Jets, but you still can love your player, and I respect that. So you don't have to make, as far as I'm concerned, you don't have to make a goodbye video for Sam Darnold. That was your guy, and you stuck with it.
Why are you killing our content?
No, I'm not killing nothing. No, that's not fair.
What the hell?
You light the fuse a lot of time, Tyson. you love to light the fuse, but
this is some bullshit, man.
No, it isn't. Not far from it. But you got to respect his conviction quite a bit.
Yeah, but
he's not waffled one bit off of that.
Everybody wants to see that conviction and the passion and the pain in his face as he discusses his farewell. That's prime time viewing, man. That's prime time content right there.
Why did you have to add the pain at the end?
The trade happened last Monday night. You saw it on Tuesday in the car show last week.
But I mean, but you want to see his passion, but why did you have to add the pain part to it?
Well, if there is pain, maybe no, but you may see excitement in him. Now his player's going to go somewhere where his player can flourish. Maybe he'll be happy about it. It could be excitement in his voice.
Yeah, I hope so. So I'm sure he'll be rooting for him, and I would be too. I had one of my best.
I grew up is if Zach Wilson flourishes too, though. If Sam flourishes and Zach Wilson's playing like shit, that's gonna fucking hurt. I'm gonna enjoy watching Sam play well, but that shit's gonna hurt.
Absolutely.
I can't wait till the Jets-Panthers game. I cannot wait till Jets-Panthers. Prime time is gonna be so torn. He's gonna be a mess.
No, I'm not.
Hey, did you see the tweet from Chimini on Altoon's daughter?
No, I didn't.
It's apparently a murder-suicide. She's dead, so it's sad.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's on Chimini posted. I don't know what the details is, but I just saw it on Twitter. Evidently, she's like a big star or something like that.
Goodness.
Yeah.
I don't
want to. Yeah, you saw it. Yeah.
Oh,
I don't know the details, but listen, we got how many days left? We got another 16 days left, it looks like.
Yep.
Yeah, 16 days.
And 16 days, and we'll find out what his plan is. But I'm excited. I mean, listen, we were all excited when they announced Saleh was the coach. I think it's all positive. Everyone's been positive. All the writing has been positive about the coach we hired, the GM that we hired. A lot of negativity on this kid for no reason. As far as I'm concerned, I think he deserves the same chance. And I mentioned this yesterday with Tyson. We're concerned about his shoulder. But, Trevor Lawrence also just came off shoulder surgery. I can't say it's right. But no one's talking about him, I guess because Clemson players heal faster than anybody else. So, listen, I'm sure they did their due diligence. Whether it's Fields or Wilson, at least, we should also give both players an equal chance, whoever they pick. You know what I'm saying? So,
yep.
On that note, gentlemen, enjoy the rest of your week, and I look forward to Monday. And keep up the good work as always.
After, have a great night, man. Thanks for calling in.
Anytime. Bye-bye.
Have a good night, man.
Yeah, I just read that, man. That's sad. That's just, dude.
That's cool.
She's 28 years old, and they have an 8-month-old child. Oh, man, oh, man, oh, man. Craziness in this world, man. Yep. And like I said, I did a mental health video a couple of weeks ago. Dude, mental health's important, man. It is so important now more than ever. This world is completely crazy with pandemics and quarantines and vaccines and whatever other political turmoil or thoughts. There's help out there, man. It is just try to stay strong, try to use your resources around you. It is so damn important, man. Like I said, I lost a friend a couple of weeks ago, and it's just, the kid was, he's young, man. It's just like, get help. Ask for help. It's around you, online resources, phone call, text, friends, therapists, do something. Just don't give up. Super, super important, man. This story is terrible, dude. Holy shit. Oh, brutal, man. Yeah, cause I try to keep track of like the responses to our account and stuff like that, and I just saw it and I just came up. That's terrible though. Shit. Yeah, definitely prayers out to this family, man. That's difficult. So Primetime, we had no Tyrone. It was good to talk to you a little bit, get your, just to get you back in your mojo. It's good to have you,
I'm still working
moving
on
it.
I'm working on it. The process.
How's baseball doing?
It's going, man. Yeah, we've had one scrimmage so far, a bunch of practices. Just good being out, being out in the field, nice weather.
Yeah, now you guys can have fans and stuff now, right? Can people go to your games?
Yeah, fans are allowed. It's just limited to family members and whatnot, but yeah, fans can be there.
That's awesome, man. It looks like, I think by the time football season, I think that both the Jets and Giants will have a ton of fans there. I mean, I think things are opening up pretty quickly. I think when you see, especially across the other parts of the country where it's, like the UFC is going to have 15,000 fans in 2 weeks, and I think if you want to go see a football game this year, you're probably going to have the ability to do so.
Hope so.
Yeah.
Hope we can tailgate
so
too.
Primetime, yeah, I can't wait to tailgate too, man. Especially if we can meet some of all our listeners and stuff like that. So, Primetime, your parting shots for this glorious April 13th.
My parting shots. Well, to all the haters and to all the derogatory DMs and comments that I've received over the past, 10 days, saying I'm a hater or a fake fan or I'm too negative, I don't know anybody's shit. I'm not hiding my opinion or giving the team the benefit of the doubt on certain things if I don't like the move. Sorry. If you're too sensitive for that, I can't help you. All of us on this show, we've put up with plenty of negativity from different callers. We've been negative at times. When the Jets were winning games, we were negative for weeks because of, what happened with Trevor Lawrence. We missed out on him. We all go through it. We've all been there. I'm not going to hide my takes if I don't like a move that the team has made. So, again, I don't think the team has done much to earn the benefit of the doubt, but I'm also not going to harp on it. I'm not going to be that fan because in the past, I've hated that fan, right? I've grown up my whole life, season ticket holder. Like, I go to every game. I'm there no matter what. I typically don't like those negative fans, but at a certain point, they start to break you a little bit, and you start to say, you know what, I gotta see a little something before I start to believe. And that's where I'm at right now. I'm going to trust the process. I'm going to give Joe Douglas time. I'm going to trust in Saleh. I'm going to get behind Wilson. But to say that I'm in love with these moves right now, not there yet.
Fair enough. I just want to thank everybody that's been joining us, especially on YouTube, like all our live streams and commenting on our videos and watching. We definitely appreciate it. There's so many different other channels out there to watch and entertain, so we definitely appreciate you guys joining us, especially the chat, all the fun we're doing. And for the callers listening here, definitely appreciate it. A couple weeks away, we'll be doing a live stream for the draft and all kinds of other stuff. And that's it. I'm just excited, man. I'm just looking to move forward, man. I just want to see like just competent, fun football and just no drama, and just hopefully it all goes right for once. But we'll see. Time will tell. A couple weeks from the draft, Primetime. Enjoy your evening, and I'll talk to you soon.
Yep. Talk to you later.
Welcome to Let's Talk Jets Radio.